Ethan Cole stepped off his small cargo ship onto the massive alien trade station. The air smelled strange, a mix of metal, spices, and something sweet. He rubbed his tired eyes after a long mission and felt his stomach growl. All he wanted was food and a quiet place to sit. The station was alive with color and noise. Tall insect-like traders clicked their mandibles while glowing fish-shaped aliens floated past in tubes of water. Ethan pushed through the crowd, his boots echoing on the steel floor. A bright neon sign caught his eye. Rilke's Galactic Diner. It looked warm and busy, the perfect place to grab a meal. As soon as he stepped inside, the sound hit him, dozens of alien voices, clattering dishes, and a low hum of music. Behind the counter stood the waitress. She was tall, with 4 arms, purple skin, and glowing yellow eyes. She smiled in a way that showed sharp teeth but felt strangely friendly. "You're a human," she said with surprise. Her voice smooth but curious. Ethan nodded and slid onto a stool. "Yeah, just passing through," he replied. Rilke leaned closer, her upper arms crossing while her lower hands wiped the counter. "Never served a human before. Heard you're a tough species," she said. Ethan laughed softly. "Tough? Well, we try." Rilke handed him a menu written in alien script with human translations under it. As he scanned the options, she kept staring. "So tell me," she said suddenly, "what is true about humans and their skills?" Ethan looked up, confused. "Skills?" Rilke tilted her head. "I heard a rumor. They say humans can do it 5 times a day." Ethan almost choked on his own breath. He blinked, unsure if he heard right. 5 times a day," he repeated. Rilke's eyes widened with excitement. "So it is true. Amazing. My species can barely do it twice before collapsing." Ethan scratched the back of his neck, trying to figure out what she was talking about. He assumed she meant eating meals or working out. "Well, yeah," he said carefully. "Humans can manage 5 times a day." The diner went silent. Every alien nearby turned to look at him, their eyes glowing with shock. Ethan froze, feeling the weight of every gaze. 5 times. A reptilian customer whispered, dropping his cup. A huge insect alien hissed in awe. "No wonder they survived so many wars." Rilke leaned closer, her voice dropping into a whisper. "Is it painful for you? Or is it pleasure every time?" Ethan's face turned red. Now he was sure something was wrong. I mean, it depends," he said weakly. The entire diner gasped as if he had revealed a galactic secret. Rilke slammed her 4 hands on the counter. "Incredible. Humans truly are a legendary species." Ethan opened his mouth to explain, but stopped when he saw other customers leaving their tables. They rushed out the door, whispering in strange languages. Within seconds, the whole diner was buzzing. Aliens crowded around him, asking questions. "How do you recover so fast? Is this ability natural or trained? Can you teach us?" Ethan raised his hands. "Whoa, wait. I think there's been a..." Before he could finish, a small metallic drone floated into the diner, projecting a hologram of a tall armored alien. "Human Ethan Cole," the voice boomed. "The Council of Elders summons you at once. Bring the waitress too." Rilke's glowing eyes widened, her lower hands clutching the counter. "The Council?" she whispered. "Do you know what this means?" Ethan sighed. "No, but I'm starting to wish I ordered takeout instead." 2 station guards entered, towering over Ethan with gleaming armor. Rilke scurried around the counter and grabbed his arm with one of her hands. "This is huge," she whispered. "If the Council heard, the whole station knows now. They think humans hold the secret of life itself." Ethan stared at her, completely lost. "What secret?" "I was just talking about..." He stopped mid-sentence, realizing how bad this misunderstanding might be. The guards gestured toward the exit. "Come, human," Ethan groaned and muttered under his breath. "Yeah, sure, why not? It's not like my day was going great anyway." As they were escorted out, the entire diner erupted into chatter. Rilke leaned closer and whispered with a grin. 5 times a day, huh? You're either the luckiest or the unluckiest human alive. Ethan just sighed, wondering what nightmare he had walked into. Asterisk. The station guards marched Ethan and Rilke through the busy corridors. Everywhere they went, aliens stopped and stared. Whispers followed them like shadows, words in dozens of strange languages carrying the same tone of awe and disbelief. Rilke kept glancing around nervously, her four hands twitching. "This is bad," she muttered. "Really bad," Ethan shot her a look. "Bad? You're the one who started this. I didn't know you humans were so extreme." She hissed back. Ethan groaned. "I don't even know what you think I said." As they turned the corner, Ethan saw something that made his stomach twist. Dozens of alien reporters had gathered, flashing lights and floating recorders filling the air. "Is it true, human?" One shouted, "5 times a day without rest?" Another alien, covered in shimmering scales, held out a recorder. "Do you use drugs? Genetic mods? Or are humans just born superior?" Ethan raised his hands to shield his face. "I think you all have the wrong." Before he could finish, the guards pushed him forward, barking orders to clear the way. In the shadows above, a pair of small eyes watched them. A hooded alien whispered into a communicator. "Confirm the rumor. The human has the ability. The black market will pay a fortune for this one." The voice on the other end hissed back, "Follow him. Make sure the council doesn't claim him first." They reached a lift that hummed as it ascended to the upper levels of the station. Ethan leaned against the wall and let out a deep breath. "Okay," he said. "Can you explain what the hell is going on before I lose my mind?" Rilke rubbed her forehead with one of her lower hands. "They think you're talking about reproduction endurance," she whispered. Ethan blinked, then his face turned pale. "Wait, you mean they think I can 5 times a day?" Rilke gave him a sheepish grin. "Well, can you?" Ethan buried his face in his hands. "Oh, this is insane," Rilke snorted a laugh. "Insane? This is history. If they believe it's true, humans will be the most desired species in the galaxy." Ethan groaned. "Yeah, desired isn't exactly the word I'd use right now." The lift doors opened to reveal a long hallway lined with glowing blue pillars. 2 massive armored guards bowed slightly and pushed open the huge doors at the end. Inside, a grand chamber shimmered with golden light. Dozens of alien leaders sat in a circle, their forms ranging from crystalline shapes to towering beasts with multiple eyes. In the center, a raised platform waited for them. Ethan stepped forward slowly, his boots echoing on the polished floor. The tallest alien, a massive being with silver skin and a crown of horns, leaned down. "Human," it said in a deep, rumbling voice. "Is it true? Do your kind possess this legendary stamina?" Ethan swallowed hard, glancing at Rilke, who gave him a helpless shrug. Before he could answer, another alien slammed a claw into the floor. "If it's true, the balance of the galaxy will change forever. The human race must be studied and protected." Another shouted, "No, if they hold this power, they must be controlled." Ethan's head spun as the chamber erupted into chaos. Rilke leaned close and whispered, "You need to say something before they tear each other apart." Ethan raised his hands. "Okay, listen. I think you're all—" A loud alarm suddenly blared through the chamber, cutting him off. The lights flickered as a deep voice echoed through the walls. "Attention, Council," the voice said. "Unauthorized forces have breached the stations." Outer ring, the silver-skinned leader's eyes flared. "Get the human to safety now." Ethan barely had time to react before the guards grabbed him and Rilke, dragging them toward a hidden passage. As they ran, Rilke laughed breathlessly. "Congrats, human. You're now officially the most valuable thing on this station," Ethan groaned. "Great. Just what I always wanted." Behind them, the chamber doors slammed shut as the sound of distant explosions rocked the station. In the shadows, the hooded alien smirked and followed, whispering, 5 times a day. Oh, you're worth more than an empire." The secret passage was dark and narrow. Cold lights flickered on the walls as the guards pushed Ethan and Rilke forward. Ethan's heart was pounding, every step echoing in the tunnel. What is happening? He hissed. Rilke's voice was low, almost shaking. If the council called you here, it means they believe you hold a power no other species has. They reached a large door made of black metal. The guards entered a code, and the door slid open with a heavy hiss. Inside was nothing. Like the grand chamber from before, it was dim, circular, and filled with a faint humming sound that made the hair on Ethan's neck stand up. Strange glowing symbols floated in the air, shifting like living smoke. At the center stood an ancient alien unlike anything had ever seen. Its body looked like glass and starlight, as if the universe itself had shaped it when it spoke. The voice wasn't just sound. It vibrated through the walls, through the air, even through Ethan's bones. "Human," it said, "you carry the key to survival." Ethan's throat went dry. I think you've got the wrong guy." The being tilted its shimmering head. "Do you deny your ability? The power to perform 5 times each day without failure?" Ethan felt Rilke's eyes on him, and for a second he wanted to laugh and cry at the same time. "Look," he said, raising his hands. "This is all a huge misunderstanding. I think." The being stepped closer, the humming in the room growing louder. "Do not lie," it said. "We have seen the whispers of life in your body, the energy. But others cannot match." Ethan froze. "Wait. What do you mean you've seen it?" Rilke whispered. "They can scan life energy." "Oh, stars. They think your human biology is some kind of weapon." Before Ethan could speak again, a panel in the floor opened, and a thin beam of light scanned his entire body. Symbols in the air pulsed and shifted. The being's voice deepened. "It is true. The human carries the core energy, 5 cycles per day. Limitless renewal." Ethan's mouth opened, but no words came out. Rilke clutched one of his arms, whispering, "They're reading your natural stamina as a galactic-level power." This just got worse. Suddenly, the wall behind the being shifted and revealed a massive circular window. Outside, Ethan saw ships moving fast, flashing lights signaling battle. The being turned back to him. "The station is under attack." "They have come for you." Ethan's heart dropped. "For me?" Rilke groaned. "Of course." The black market heard the rumor. The ancient being extended a glowing hand. "Human, you must choose. Stay and become the Council's shield, or leave and risk the galaxy falling to war." Ethan stared, his brain screaming that this was insane. "I just wanted lunch," he muttered under his breath. Rilke squeezed his arm and whispered quickly, "If you refuse, they'll think you're hiding the power. They'll never let you leave alive." Before Ethan could answer, the door slammed open. A group of black-armored aliens stormed in, weapons glowing. The guards reacted instantly, energy blasts filling the room with light. One of the attackers shouted, "Secure the human. The price on his head is worth 1,000 planets." Rilke grabbed Ethan's hand with all 4 of hers and dragged him toward a hidden exit. The ancient being's voice thundered through the room, "Protect the human at all costs." The humming symbols in the air exploded into a bright flash, blinding everyone for a moment. Ethan stumbled through another narrow corridor, his chest burning from the sprint. 5 times a day, huh?" he gasped. "I can barely run once without dying." Rilke laughed breathlessly. "If you survive this, you'll be the most famous human in the galaxy. Or the most hunted." Behind them, the sound of pursuit echoed closer and closer. Rilke pulled him into a side passage and slammed a panel shut, trapping them in a small maintenance tunnel. They both froze, breathing hard in the darkness. Ethan turned to her, whispering, "You started this. Now how do we end it?" Rilke's glowing yellow eyes met his in the dim light. "We don't end it," she said softly. "We make it bigger." Ethan blinked. "What?" She grinned. "If the whole galaxy wants the legend of the human who can go 5 times a day, then we make you a myth they can never catch." Outside the tunnel, the station shook from another explosion. Ethan's stomach turned as he realized his life had just gone from a quiet cargo run to the center of an intergalactic storm. Asterisk, the maintenance tunnel shook with another explosion. Dust rained from the ceiling as Rilke dragged Ethan deeper into the narrow passage. Somewhere above them, the sound of alien weapons and heavy boots echoed. Ethan panted. This is officially the worst lunch break in the history of lunch breaks. Rilke stopped at a hatch and pressed her lower hands against a glowing panel. With a soft hiss, the hatch slid open to reveal a small hidden chamber filled with old tech and flickering lights. This is a safe room, she said, used by smugglers. We can hide here for a bit. Ethan stumbled inside and leaned against the wall. Okay, he said between breaths. Let's just stop for a second. I need you to explain. What is going on now? Rilke sat on a crate and gave him a half smile. You're not going to like the answer, she said. The council isn't going to let you go until you prove the rumor is true. Ethan's stomach dropped. Prove it? How? She shrugged. They're going to give you a trial. A test of endurance. Something no other species can survive. Ethan stared at her. You mean they actually want me to, you know? Rilke chuckled. Not exactly. They'll test your body in other ways. But the meaning behind it? Oh yeah, everyone will still think it's that. Before Ethan could answer, the hatch behind them opened with a loud metallic click. Two tall armored aliens stepped in, weapons glowing. The human comes with us, one growled. The challenge begins now. They had no choice. Minutes later, Ethan found himself standing in the center of a massive arena. Rows upon rows of alien spectators surrounded him, their voices rising in excitement. Bright lights illuminated the center where a strange machine waited. Glowing with energy, Rilke stood beside him, whispering, Okay. Listen, if you fail, humans will be seen as a joke. And if you succeed, Ethan finished. I become the galaxy's #1 breeding myth, Rilke grinned. Exactly. The council leader's voice boomed over the arena. Today, the human will face the challenge of 5 trials of strength, stamina, and renewal. The crowd roared, chanting in alien tongues. Ethan glanced at Rilke, panic in his eyes. 5 trials? He hissed. I can barely survive one Monday morning without coffee. Rilke smirked. Relax. Just do what humans do best. And what's that? Pretend you know what you're doing. The first trial began. A platform rose from the ground, holding massive weights that shimmered with anti-gravity fields. The announcer shouted, First test, endurance lift. Ethan gulped as the alien guards handed him the strange device. It felt heavy, almost alive. Humming in his hands, he struggled, muscles burning, but somehow managed to lift it. The crowd erupted into cheers. Rilke whispered, That's one. Only 4 more to go. The second trial activated. Jets of water and fire shot across a narrow bridge. Ethan had to cross it while the temperature shifted violently. He stumbled, nearly falling, but adrenaline kept him moving. When he reached the other side, the arena exploded in applause. Rilke grinned. 2 down, you're making history, Ethan groaned. I'm making hernias. The third trial made his stomach twist. A swarm of small drone-like machines surrounded him, each zapping with energy. He had to dodge, roll, and survive for 5 minutes. By the end, he collapsed to his knees, gasping. The crowd roared louder than before. Rilke patted his back. 3. You're almost a legend, Ethan wheezed. I'm almost dead. The 4th trial was worse. A massive alien beast was released into the arena. Towering and snarling, Ethan's heart nearly stopped. He didn't have weapons, only his wits, when the beast charged. Ethan did the only thing he could. He ran. The crowd gasped as the human darted under the beast's legs, using his smaller size to his advantage. With a desperate move, he tricked the beast into crashing into the wall, knocking it out cold. The arena erupted in chaos, chants of "Who man?" Filling the air. Rilke leaned close, laughing breathlessly. 4 down. 1 to go. You're about to be worshipped, Ethan groaned. Yeah, Until I pass out, and they realize I'm just a guy who wanted lunch. The fifth and final trial rose from the ground. It wasn't a beast or a machine. It was a glowing orb pulsing with strange energy. The announcer's voice shook. Final test. Renewal of life. Rilke's smile faded. Oh no. That's not good. Ethan stared at her. What is it? She whispered. That orb reads your core. Your essence. If it finds what they expect, you'll be their hero forever. Ethan stepped forward. Sweat dripping down his face. The crowd held its breath. He placed his hands on the orb and felt it pulse with a strange warmth. The arena went silent. For a moment, Ethan thought it would reject him. Then the orb glowed bright gold, sending waves of light across the arena. The council leader's voice boomed. It is true. The human holds the power of 5. The arena exploded into thunderous cheers. Rilke grabbed Ethan and whispered, Congratulations, legend. You just sealed humanity's reputation forever. Ethan's only reply was a weak laugh. Great. Can I get my lunch now? Ethan sat on the cold floor of the arena's waiting chamber. His legs shaking, Rilke paced in front of him, all 4 of her hands moving as she spoke. You don't get it, human. What just happened out there will echo across the galaxy, Ethan wiped sweat from his forehead. Echo? Rilke, I can barely stand. My legs feel like noodles. Rilke crouched beside him, her glowing yellow eyes serious. You passed all 5 trials. The council believes you hold the power of endless renewal. Ethan groaned. Great, so now I'm a walking battery with bad knees. Before Rilke could reply, the heavy door slammed open. 2 tall guards entered, their armor gleaming in the dim light. The council requests the human, one said in a deep metallic voice. Ethan muttered under his breath. Of course they do. No rest for the legendary. They were escorted into a massive hall filled with holographic screens. Images of the trials were already being broadcast to hundreds of alien worlds. Ethan's stomach dropped when he saw his face plastered across the feeds in huge glowing letters. The human who can do it 5 times a day. Rilke covered her mouth, trying not to laugh. Ethan glared at her. It's not funny. She snorted. Oh, it's hilarious. You're officially the galaxy's most wanted hero. Or mate. The council leader stepped forward, silver skin gleaming under the lights. Human Ethan Cole, it said in a booming voice. You have proven the legend true. But now the trial begins. Ethan blinked. Wait, that wasn't the trial. Rilke's face paled. Oh. Stars above. I think that was just the test before the real thing. A massive screen flickered on behind the council. It showed messages from alien factions across the galaxy. Some offered alliances. Others demanded Ethan be handed over for study. One chilling message stood out. Deliver the human or face war. Ethan swallowed hard. Okay. This has gone way past lunch. The silver-skinned leader's voice echoed. The trial is simple. Survive 5 rotations on the station without being captured or killed. If you endure, humanity will be recognized as a dominant species. If you fail, you will be claimed by those who seek your power. Rilke turned to Ethan, her voice low. They've turned you into a prize. The next 5 days, every assassin, every mercenary, every faction will be hunting you. Ethan stared at her, his voice flat. 5 days? I can barely survive 5 minutes without tripping over my own boots. The council leader extended a clawed hand. You will be given no weapons, only your natural strength. The galaxy must see the truth of human power. Ethan laughed nervously. Yeah, about that. Can we tell them the truth? That this is one big, ridiculous misunderstanding? The room went silent, every alien eye on him. Rilke leaned close and whispered, Say that and they'll tear you apart. Right now, you're not just Ethan Cole, cargo pilot. You're the myth they've been waiting for. Before Ethan could protest, the floor beneath him shifted. A glowing ring of light surrounded him, and in an instant, he was teleported into the center of the station's main dome. The massive Structure stretched above like a glass sky. With thousands of alien spectators watching from every angle, Rilke appeared beside him, her hands clutching his arm. "Okay. Rule 1, she said. Don't die." A booming voice filled the dome. "The human trial begins now. 5 rotations, survive and ascend beyond legend." The ground shook as massive gates opened around the dome. From the shadows, figures stepped forward, mercenaries, hunters, strange creatures with glowing weapons, every single one of them. Focused on Ethan, he raised his hands, his voice cracking. Can we just talk about this? Maybe over dinner?" A huge armored alien roared, charging toward him. Ethan turned to Rilke, panic in his eyes. "Any other rules?" He shouted. She grinned. "Yeah." "Run." Ethan bolted, his boots slamming. Against the metal floor as the hunters closed in, the crowd erupted in cheers, chanting his name. For a moment, Ethan realized something terrifying. If he survived this, humanity wouldn't just be respected. They'd expect every human to live up to this insane legend. Behind him, Rilke laughed breathlessly as they ducked into a side corridor. "Welcome to the trial, human. You wanted adventure? You just became the galaxy's biggest story." Ethan groaned as the sound of footsteps closed in. "I wanted lunch," he muttered. "Just lunch, asterisk." The sound of pounding footsteps echoed through the corridor as Ethan and Rilke sprinted. Alarms blared overhead, and the station lights shifted to a deep crimson. "Left!" Rilke shouted, pulling Ethan into a narrow maintenance shaft. They both pressed their backs against the wall as a squad of hunters ran past, their glowing weapons humming. Ethan gasped for air, his heart hammering in his chest. "Rilke," he whispered, "we can't keep running for 5 days." "I'm human, not a machine." Rilke glanced at him, her yellow eyes glowing in the dim light. "You're more than a machine," she said softly. "You're the myth now. And myths don't get tired." Ethan let out a shaky laugh. "Myths also don't get cramps." "I do." Before Rilke could reply, a small drone floated into the shaft, scanning the air. Ethan grabbed a loose pipe and swung, knocking it to the ground. Sparks flew as it shattered, and a faint static voice whispered from its wreckage, "Secure." "The human 5 times, priceless." Rilke crouched and picked up a piece of the drone, her face serious. "This isn't just the council. There are black market signatures all over this tech." Ethan rubbed his face. "So now I'm a legend and a bounty." "Perfect." They crept through the shaft until it opened into a large, abandoned hangar. Dust and broken machinery covered the floor. For the first time in hours, there was silence. Ethan sat down heavily on a crate, his shoulders slumping. "Rilke," he said quietly, "I can't do this. I'm just a cargo pilot who wanted a meal, not..." "Whatever this is," Rilke sat beside him, all 4 of her hands resting on her knees. "You don't get it, Ethan," she said. "For thousands of years, every species has looked for the secret of renewal, something that separates the survivors from the extinct. Now they think humans have it." "They think you have it." Ethan shook his head. "But it's not true." "I didn't even mean what they think I said." Rilke tilted her head. "Then what did you mean?" He sighed. "Meals, Rilke. Humans eat 5 times a day if we can. That's what I was talking about." For a second, there was silence then. Rilke's glowing eyes widened and she burst out laughing. "You mean, all of this, the council, the trial, the hunters, it's all because you were talking about food?" Ethan covered his face with his hands. "Yes, food, not that other thing they think." Rilke laughed so hard she fell off the crate, her lower hands pounding the floor. "Oh, stars. The galaxy thinks humans are some kind of super endurance species, and it's because of snacks?" Ethan groaned. "Yeah, laugh it up. Meanwhile, I'm the one being hunted for my legendary stamina." Their moment of relief didn't last. A low voice echoed through the hangar. "So, the truth is finally revealed." Ethan and Rilke spun around. From the shadows stepped the ancient being from the council chamber. its glass-like body glowing faintly. You speak of meals, human, it said, yet you do not understand. Even that is a power, Ethan blinked. Wait. What? The being stepped closer, the air humming around it. To eat 5 times a day, to fuel the body so often. Your species has adapted to constant renewal. Constant survival, Rilke tilted her head, still wiping tears of laughter. So, you're saying snacks are the secret? The being's voice rumbled. In a way, yes. Other species burn out after one cycle, but humans, you restore yourselves again and again. Ethan stared. You mean, the legend is true, but not for the reason they think. Before the being could answer, the hangar doors exploded. Inward, black-armored hunters stormed in, their weapons glowing bright. Get the human. One roared, alive if possible. The ancient being raised a hand, light rippling across the floor. Energy shields formed around Ethan and Rilke, deflecting the incoming fire. Go, the being said. Prove to the galaxy what you are. Not a myth, not a mistake, but a survivor. Rilke grabbed Ethan's arm, her grin returning. Congratulations, pilot. You're about to turn lunch into a legend. Ethan groaned as they ran for the escape hatch. Yeah. If I live through this, I'm never skipping breakfast again. The escape hatch slammed shut behind them as the hangar shook from explosions. Ethan and Rilke stumbled into a narrow docking corridor. Alarms blaring above, smoke filled the air as distant voices shouted orders. Ethan's chest burned with every breath, his legs screaming in pain. Rilke, he gasped. I can't keep running, she grinned, pulling him forward with 2 of her hands. Too late to stop now, legend, she said. The whole galaxy is watching. They burst into a small shuttle bay. Rows of abandoned crafts lined the walls, most of them broken or half-built. Rilke pointed to a small rusted shuttle in the corner. That one still works. Probably. Ethan stumbled toward it. Probably? That's not exactly comforting, Rilke laughed. Comfort is for people who aren't being hunted by the entire galaxy. As they climbed into the shuttle, a loud metallic thud echoed behind them. The black-armored hunters appeared in the doorway, weapons raised. Human! One shouted, you belong to the black market now. Before Ethan could panic, the air shimmered. The ancient being appeared in the bay, its glass-like body glowing with starlight. Its voice boomed, shaking the metal walls. No. The human belongs to all life. The hunters hesitated. The being raised a hand and a wave of energy pulsed through the room. Every screen and communicator across the station lit up, broadcasting Ethan's exhausted, terrified face to every corner of the galaxy. People of the stars, the being's voice echoed. Witness the truth of the human race. Rilke froze, her hands gripping Ethan's shoulders. Oh, stars! You're about to go viral, she whispered. The being continued. This human has passed the 5 trials, survived the hunters, and proven the power of constant renewal. Not through war, not through weapons, but through life itself. The crowd watching from across the galaxy erupted into cheers. Ethan's jaw dropped. Wait, are you turning eating snacks into a galactic speech? Rilke laughed so hard she nearly fell over. Just smile and look legendary. The hunters lowered their weapons slowly, some even bowing. The being's voice grew softer. Humanity. The species that can rise again and again, 5 times a day, and more. You are the heartbeat of survival. Ethan stared at Rilke in disbelief. They're buying this? She grinned. Oh, they're not just buying it. You just became the most valuable being in the galaxy. Within hours, the trial ended. The Council declared humanity a protected species of renewal. Every faction withdrew, not wanting to risk war over the new legend. Back at Rilke's diner, things were different. The sign had been changed to read 5 times a day. Glowing in bright neon, aliens from across the galaxy lined up outside, hoping to see the human who had become a myth. Ethan sat at the counter, nursing a cup of something that tasted like coffee but smelled like metal. Rilke slid into the seat beside him, her 4 hands carrying plates of food. "You realize," she said with a grin, "you've just turned your species into the most desirable mates in the universe." Ethan groaned. "Great. So now every human is going to have to live up to a rumor about me and snacks." Rilke laughed. "Not just snacks. Survival snacks." The door chimed as another group of aliens entered, whispering excitedly. Ethan lowered his head into his hands. "This is my life now, isn't it?" Rilke patted his shoulder with one of her hands. "Welcome to legend status, hero." For a moment, there was a rare silence in the diner. Rilke leaned closer, her yellow eyes glowing mischievously. "So, Ethan, just between us." He groaned. "Don't ask it," she smirked. "Was it really 5 times a day?" Ethan raised his cup, his voice flat but with the faintest smile. "No comment." Outside the diner, a small drone floated by, recording the moment. The feed was broadcast to billions across the galaxy. And just like that, the myth of the human who could do it 5 times a day grew even bigger. Back on Earth, months later, a confused farmer opened his communicator to see the message. From the stars, humans, the species of endless renewal. He blinked, looked at his half-eaten sandwich and muttered, "Guess lunch really is important."